This is part 6 of Node-RED. Here we've got the single player home tab, we've got the game mode screen, and we've got the game itself after. Single player tab is this gonna be using the game info global variable as previous one. We've clicked on then whenever we click on game mode, it updates the game 1 into this. Also send game mode 1 tab. So if we were to click 2, it'll be showing game mode 2 right here, and the game info screen we can choose a level: easy, medium. This one will enable all buttons when we get into this tab. Whenever we click on one button, that button will be set to false, and the two others will be set to true. This means if one of them, this one, will be and the others are enabled, and the same thing happens with the two. Click on start game, will be checking is mode here chosen and is chosen. The level is gonna be used. Third, uh, SP single player mode 2, level 2 as a level. If they aren't, please select the R. They're gonna go through that game. Here it covers our loading flow, and the loading just bit and explain what happens. Loading will be sending out a calibrate MQTT, which means our node MCU use. At the same time, it's gonna start a countdown, and it's gonna send out an empty string here. And this one here, sorry, not an empty string, an empty topic. The string will be if of the game loading. What happens after I explain this? Seeing a loading screen, a loading notification, and then a delay of 10 seconds. The node MCU will be calibrating. This one leads down here in our countdown sequence. Using the game info and time, I'll be using a tracker. The countdown trigger is defined earlier on as on. If it's an on state, then I'll be sending out 3 and it'll turn it off. And then it'll go through this 1 second delay and 2 and then 1 and then go. And after go, it'll go through stop to make sure that it's not gonna loop further. If the countdown triggers is if the message is stop, then the counter trigger will be set to off and the time trigger will be set to on. and it'll redirect into the single player or multiplayer, depending on what you're playing. The single player, this one, will be sent in a comma separated string to MQTT to NodeMCU. So, the game has now started with level and you're talking, and whichever NodeMCU is about to start. Also, game info, this one is the goals remaining for you to score in this game mode. So, if you play game mode 2, you'll have to score 15 more goals. I wonder what this counter trigger is for. Started as on. What this does is it prevents multiple countdowns of triggered and being. It's basically like a failsafe so that we all have one countdown going. So if we click on the start game, you can see this one will be running, loading, and the calibrating because we send out the message. And then have the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and we've got this game mode going. This game mode is rolled as one two other game modes. These nodes here, and we've also got this one here. A quick group of nodes. Remember to delete when says I already have, but I needed them right now to, well, show what's happening. So when we've loaded, we go through this in, well, we go through out right here to the, and these start triggering. This one is quite simple. It has these arrays and it'll go through a loop, and if modes of I are the same as game in 1, see it's called mode 2 and it's levels with level 2 as well, so that it knows it's gonna be set to medium and game mode 2 in bold font, and that is what is gonna be shown up here. Got this label chart, and this one is gonna be set right at the start if the name of our tab, thus it's a name out into link in. If, depending which game mode you're playing, this one will be the third array. Sorry about that. The third element in this array will be set to the points, the scores. In game mode 1 and game mode 3, it'll be set to 0. Oh, sorry, it doesn't have 1 in game mode 3. It'll be set to 0 in game mode 1. In the third one, it'll be set to 15. As you can see here, you have to score 50 more goals for the game to end. In game mode 3, we've got these two here, and this one is a bar trigger, and this one. My apologies, I can't remember what it is right now. I'll get back to it, I suppose. During the game, when we get another payload, which is whenever a person scores on the corresponding hoop. For instance, I'm logged in right now with a hoop number being 2. So if a score for hoop 2, the goals remaining will be minus minus. It'll be set to 14 instead of 15. What's happening here is this will trigger, and then if we're in mode 1, the scores will go 1 up. If we are in mode 2, the scores will go 1 down, and if we're in mode 3, the bar tracker number 5 will be set to -3 if you are in the red area, -2 if you're in the yellow area, and -1 if you are in the green area. Thus, it'll be quite like the multiplayer game itself, which is also what it's trying to imitate. And here is our time system. And our time system runs on a 1-second delay. It's our counting time here, the time used, now that we are in mode 2. First of all, it's going to define all the global variables. Then it's multi-game, because we're using this right here as the link out as a link in for this link out here, and this one will be sending both single player and multiplayer start conditions, so that we'll make sure these run as in it's not multi-game. If we are trying to play multi-game or multiplayer, then nothing returns and there's no loop and nothing triggers. If message.payload is not this, and if game mode is equals 1, then the time will go down because you're trying to score as much as possible within a time frame. Otherwise, if it's mode 2 or mode 3, the time will plus itself, as in it will be rising with a second at a time. If the time trigger is set to stop, then nothing will happen and the entire thing will stop. This happens when the game is over. As you can see here, for these, if we're in mode 1 and the time is equal or set or lower than 0, as in the time has run out, then the time tracker will set to stop and it'll be sending out an information to node MCU through the MQTT node right here to game over, that the game is over. For mode 2 is when we've got 0 or less scores left, and for mode 3 is when the bar trigger is above 9, which means you've been knocked out of the bar game. Right at the start of the game, this is being sent and the time trigger is on, and thus if we're in mode 1, we'll be setting the message 1 is the second counter, to 5 times 60 seconds, which is, well, 5 minutes. Otherwise, it'd be sent as 0 seconds and 0 seconds, which is what it's gonna count up towards. Well, sorry, not towards, but from. And it'll be sending a different topic. As you can see here, it says goals remaining. For the others, it might say, sorry, not here, down up here, time used. For the others, it might say time remaining or time survived. Otherwise, it's gonna be sending this right here, and this is kind of a warning thing. If time is less or equal to 10, then we'll be changing the font size and the color to red and a tiny bit bigger, and we'll be adding this 0 here, and these two are quite similar. As you can see, the only difference is the red here and the font size. What happens is we'll be defining the minute first of all here, time minus time modulus 60. This will divided by 60. This will define the minutes, and if it's less than 10 in seconds, then I'll be setting a 0 in front and then the seconds, so that it'll be saying 8 colon 0 and 5 instead of 8 colon 5. And then it'll return, and this will go through a loop. Then we've got this function here, and this one covers these bar graphics, which are being used for when you're playing game mode 3 of a rising or lowering bar, rising or declining, I should say. Uh, that is if game mode is 3, and it's gonna find out first of all the time frames in which it should increase its bar. So we've set it to right now. Um, this is gonna create an array, and it's gonna set a set amount of time. And whenever we hit the time, the bar tracker will go one up. And the thing about this is, it's gonna be more frequent later on. So it's gonna be harder and harder as the bar tracker will keep rising. As you can see, it's gonna be a minute minus I times 5. So that if I is 1, it'll be 55 seconds. If I is 8, it'll be 8 times 5, it's 40 minus. So it's every 20 seconds, etc. And also, if time is bigger than the last entry in this array, then it'll be by default be set to increase by 5, increase every 5 seconds. So that's what these do. Then we've got the image source, which will be adding this image and then shown into the bar. I can show it what is gonna happen. Otherwise, if we're playing game mode 1 or game mode 2, it's gonna show the GIF of the corn playing basketball that we looked at just before. So this is a bar and the time survived, and this is gonna increase at first of all 1 minute, then 1 minute and 55 seconds, and then 50 seconds later, etc. And if we score, then the bar will go 1 down if you're in the green area, 2 down if you're in the yellow area, and 3 down if you are in the red area. And I'm not gonna wait for the bar to increase as it's gonna take quite some time, but that was the single player part. Thank you for watching.